ACT tutoring was super beneficial for me because I found this sort of familiarity with the test. I didn't have to be scared of it because Strive to Learn helped me know what kind of questions were going to be on the test and how do I, as an individual, approach those questions. I also really love that Strive to Learn helped me make some of my biggest weaknesses actually some of my strengths. I started with not good grades in math, let me tell you. And by the end of it, I actually scored highest on math for one of my tests. So they really have this good focus in how to grow you as an individual based on your strengths and your weaknesses.
Also love to know how it affected you to actually prepare for these tests. What effect did it have on you?
So, I am generally not a strong math student, and I have never been, but I realized a couple of months into my junior year that I was doing like much better in my regular math classes than I had in the past. And so I was able to place into an advanced math class that only had 5 people in it besides me. And then in my senior year, I took calculus at my school, which is a fairly rare thing. Very few people wind up taking calculus at my school. I wound up taking the highest level math class available at my high school. And I would say that's probably directly because I had to do math that I would not have done otherwise, and to build my study skills and my ability to actually critically think about math. And yeah, that really, it assisted my college applications. It made my transcript look, I would say, much more well-rounded than it would have because I'm a, strong humanities and arts student. And yeah, I definitely think it had a great impact on my regular academics outside of test prep.
I think in total, didn't you come up about 11 or 12 points or something like that?
Yeah, it was a lot. I was in the low 20s. I can't remember which one for my
Yeah,
composite score, I mean, and my composite
when you
score,
started, right?
yes, when I started. My composite score September of my senior year was a 32 instead. So it
Yeah.
was a lot.
So if you decide that that all sounds really good and you want to have all those benefits too, and you decide that you want to hire a test prep tutor, then I want to make sure that you keep in mind some things to ask them, because there are great test prep tutors out there. There are mediocre ones and there are pretty terrible ones. And they all have different price tags, and some of them have horrendous price tags where it's like, okay, like what are you really doing in that hour with me? So I think that it's really important to ask any test prep tutor or test prep tutoring company that you're thinking about working with, how does the tutor, or how do your test prep tutors gauge the learning style of the student, and how do they mold the standardized test experience to that student and that student's strengths and motivations? That's a really important one, because you'll figure out, or do they make it personal? Because it is not one size fits all, these tests, right? That's why they're hard, because they are all the same. And that's why everyone does differently on them, because everyone has their own demons to face in this process. So also really asking them, what do you do to help build the student's confidence? How do you teach? Like, what are the aspects that you kind of focus on teaching? And hopefully active reading is one of the things that they will tell you. And I really recommend that you hire someone who also really focuses on study skills and on teaching you how to become independent in your studying. So ask them that. How are you going to make me an independent, like well, or able to study well student? Ask them that, because tutors who create dependency, that is not going to serve you well. You really want someone to work with you who will teach you how you can learn how to help yourself, right? That's the way that you can gain these skills that Lily was talking about. That's the way that you can gain a skill set that will really move you forward and that will carry you far beyond these tests. Because like our goal at Strive to Learn, for example, is that getting a really good test score is kind of like a byproduct of doing test prep. Like the goal of test prep is to really foster confidence, to foster study skills, to help you learn how you learn, you specifically, not other people. Like, what does your brain do and what helps your brain and how to think critically. And I'm just going to say it again, confidence, how to be confident in yourself as a student. These tests can tear you down, but they don't have to. They can really build you up. So work with someone who knows that and who can give you some good answers to the questions that I just told you about, because then the SAT and the ACT can actually be a huge opportunity for you as a student instead of a huge hurdle.